So excited today to be joined by Ruth, who is a fellow Kiwi based in England. And she's one of three siblings behind the iconic brand Zoë and Morgan.
Thanks, Penny, for having me today. It's so
Oh,
nice
no.
to meet you, and I love it. So nice to connect.
This is a brand that I absolutely love, and I sort of got introduced to it about 10 years ago from one of my dear friends in New Zealand. She gifted me with one of your incredible pieces when I was her bridesmaid at her wedding, and she gifted me. I'm sure you'll recognize this little piece. It's
Oh, yes. Yeah, I love that
yeah,
one.
it's so beautiful, and I love the story behind the swallow. Yeah, I think it's about returning back home or returning to your roots.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. So the swallows always nest often close to the ocean as well, and it's that idea. And also, both Morgan and I have tattoos, which are from Samoan descent, but they have a bird as well that they tattoo, which is a bit like a swallow, and it symbolizes flying away, during the day and always coming back home safely.
That's
So we've incorporated the swallow for a long time into the collections, I guess, because we've all traveled a lot. So there's that sense of always returning home. And I
nice.
think, and as we grow older as well, I think home really, it's that essence of you, isn't it? So
Oh,
it's not
absolutely.
just the physical manifestation of home, it's really that reminder to always return back to your central self, which is your
Yeah.
home, which is your innate home, and to be there no matter where you are in the world.
Yeah, it is such a special piece, and it definitely reminds me of home every time I'm wearing it and every time I see it. It's definitely something, being away from home, I think you feel that call
Yes.
to constantly, and I definitely do feel it the older I'm getting and the longer I'm being away from home.
Yeah.
I always refer to New Zealand as home. Um,
Yeah.
but I love the story of your family and your ancestry and the whole story which you share on the website. And you've got an incredible story with your grandfather being Argentinian. Oh no, he's New
Oh
Zealand.
yeah.
He's New Zealand.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting that I happen to be in Ibiza right now because our father, Douglas, who had a shop called Moonbird in Devonport, he was a jeweler and he had one of his first workshops here in Ibiza in the 60s.
Wow, that is amazing.
Yeah. So he learnt the craft of silver and goldsmith. He made everything by hand. He learnt in Germany. And then he sort of moved around Europe until he met our mum in England. And his father was born in New Zealand, and we go back quite a few
Okay.
generations in New Zealand
Yeah.
from his father. But yeah, it was our father that was the jeweler,
Wow.
and we grew up around it. We
Yes.
moved at a very young age to New Zealand, and Dad always had his workshop, and we would, as teenagers, we'd make air cuffs and roller skates and dolphins and all those kind of
That is so
cool
cool.
teenage things. And it was just always around. Our mum was also really creative. She was often dyeing fabric and making us skirts, or we'd make all kinds of things. She was very creative, and really, they both of our parents instilled a sense of curiosity and a value and creativity in us.
Yeah.
So we've always had that, which is an amazing start in life. And then the we all sort of did our own thing in our early 20s, but jewelry was always there in the background, basically. And
Yes.
Zoe was living in London. She'd moved to London with her husband, Taya,
Yeah.
and I was in New Zealand, and Morgan had sort of moved to Bali. And that's when it all started. Zoe was already making jewelry. We were all making jewelry sort of on the side.
Yeah.
But for her, it took over from her day job.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
Morgan was said, look, why don't I can help you. We can kind of make jewelry together. And really that's where it was born. It was just kind of like a inspiration and a wish. And it was also, I just think, an innate wisdom. It was just a naturalness within us all to make jewelry because it was what we'd grown up around.
Yeah, and that is such a special connection to have as well. Having that, it's ingrained in your roots almost, and to have that special, upbringing with your dad teaching you and you being there firsthand to see the creative side of it.
Yes. Well, you'll understand this perfectly with your mum also doing skincare. It's
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I
yeah.
think there's a certain part where you don't really want to be what your parents were, or sort of you want to be your own individual self. But to a certain extent, I think there's definitely something comforting, especially being away from home as well. Finding that creativity in something that your parents did.
Mm,
And for me with the skincare, that's definitely, I feel a connection back home in doing the skincare, and I feel like I've got my mum close to me. So it is a
yeah.
really, really special journey. But
It is
um,
nice, isn't it?
yeah, it isn't, it's amazing. But it's also very special you're with your brother and sister. So your sister is Zoe, your brother's
Yeah.
Morgan, and then
Yeah.
you're Ruth.
Yes.
How did you not end up with your name in the title?
I'm the end. I am the middle child, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, I'm the glue. Zoe had started in London. I mean, we had started it quite a few years after our father passed. He passed when we were in our early 20s.
Sorry to hear that.
And
Yeah.
he'd handed Zoe his tools, which was
Oh,
significant.
that is
And
powerful.
she had started a brand called Zoe and Zen.
Okay.
And she had managed to get her jewelry into, I think, Harvey Nicks,
Oh,
and
amazing.
just really through having little sales at home and people wearing it, and she was doing something different. So then when Morgan said to her, look, let's join and let's do something together, she changed it from Zoe and Zen to Zoe and Morgan. And really
Oh,
that's how she got some business advice, and so
yeah.
that was really how the name was born. And then I joined them about 2 years after they'd started.
Okay.
And then we were all together when they first made their first collection. And it
Yeah.
was
Oh,
exciting
that's
those days. We
special.
were in Bali and Morgan was staying in this quite simple but really nice little hotel. And we were all just sitting there by the pool, like
Oh, that is
eating
the dream.
olives and
Yeah.
designing jewelry together. And it was a very exciting time because it was all sort of new and yet
Yes.
familiar and just lovely to be doing something together. And as we sat
Yeah.
there making these first pieces, I kind of knew that I wanted to at some point work with them. But at that point, I was
Yeah.
finishing off uni. And then I was already had work placement. So I was going into a job at Nova straight from uni. So
Okay.
my life took me into it a little bit later. Yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes, it's still an experience to have those journeys before you actually fall into what what it is that you're meant to be doing. There's a lot of growth and
Oh, absolutely. There's so much
yeah.
value in having time to explore and evolve.
Yeah.
It's very valuable. Yeah, and then basically Zoe got pregnant with her first son, Ace, when I moved to London. So I moved as she was pregnant and quite quickly had to, I was quite quickly running things because baby Ace came along, which was very exciting. So we really had that work, family, babies
Yeah.
flow right from the beginning. It was
Yeah,
that
that's
navigating,
incredible.
navigating life, and thank
That
goodness
is
there's three
hard.
of us because it meant that that was possible.
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
Zoe had her firstborn Ace, and then not long after she got pregnant with Mia, the same time Morgan and his partner Kamala, they had Luella.
Oh,
So, and then my daughter came along a bit later. So, but
oh,
it's
that's
it's
so
been
special.
amazing that we've all been able to support ourselves, each other as the business grew and the children grew.
Definitely.
And of course, we've had an amazing team, which we wouldn't be here without them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's definitely having, the cement underneath to be able to support and grow is definitely
Yes.
important. And yeah.
Yeah.
So your first collection, was that that was born in Bali, was it? That's where you
It
had
was,
it
yeah.
all
Morgan
separated.
Morgan was sort of had started to move there. He lived in Bali for a long time,
Yeah.
which was great because it just gave us the freedom.
Yes.
We didn't have huge investments. We didn't have a whole lot of money at the beginning of it. So
Yeah.
Bali gave us the freedom to make just a few of things,
Yeah.
and we met Gustu, who's been our amazing wax carver in those early days, and
Oh,
him and Morgan just had an incredible understanding, and they really worked together
yeah.
and made some incredible pieces. And there was a lot of freedom. Um, yeah, there was a lot of freedom and just experimentation,
Yeah.
and you're kind of young. And in London, we were going to London Fashion Week and Paris Fashion Week, and there's so much creativity and excitement
Yeah.
around that. So
There's
they were
definitely,
fun times.
yeah, and it's so special, especially in those like early younger years, without having the stress of, financial investment, or having to repay huge big business loans, because you sort of,
Yes.
there's a lot more, it's relaxed and there's a lot more ease to it. I think it takes a lot of the pressure off, and therefore I feel like creativity, and you have a lot more room to explore, really, don't you, when you've got
Yes.
less pressure.
Yeah.
And
Exactly. And we got lucky, I guess. Zoe and Morgan took the first collection and presented it in Paris, and we got picked
yeah,
up by some amazing stores. And that was it. It sort of ran from there.
yeah,
So
amazing.
yeah,
But
yeah.
you're celebrating your 20th year this year. That is
We are, which
incredible.
is
Congratulations.
amazing.
That is
Thank you.
huge. That is definitely something to be so proud of.
Yeah,
Definitely.
it's been so nice to reflect back on the last 20 years. It feels very
Yeah,
grown up. I'm
definitely.
like, wow, we are solidly middle-aged now, and we're not roller skating around the
No,
Paris showroom. And
with your punk air cuffs and
yeah, we've moved on. But it's beautiful to see this journey actually, and it's really special. It doesn't feel like so long.
the
Um,
time flies. It
oh,
really actually does.
it's
And I think,
incredible.
especially when you throw kids into the mix as well, that's what I've seen. My oldest is 7 now, and I look
Yeah,
at her and I think, how are you 7? And I definitely
yeah,
see, I see age in children. I see time passing in my
absolutely,
children, because I still feel,
absolutely.
like I'm 20 at times, being the irresponsible parent
Yeah.
running around. But the reality of it is it's a lot more serious. But yeah, it's
And it's nice to retain that inner child essence, you know. I
definitely,
think it definitely gives a lot of freedom, and it's where a lot of inspiration comes from. So it's important to keep that kind of playfulness
yes,
along with being a serious adult.
absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah, no, it's been really exciting to have be in our 20th year. We've been looking back at, the collections, we've been looking back at photos, we've been sort of looking and reflecting on the journey. And
Yeah,
also I just feel so proud of where we are now with my
yeah,
siblings, and how the business has sort of grown and developed. And I
yes,
feel it's interesting looking back at how our roots have really been so strong the whole time.
yes,
I
yeah,
mean, at the beginning, we had no business plan. It wasn't like we had this super clear direction of what we were doing,
yeah,
but I can see through it all that there's
yeah,
obviously a very clear story, which is a reflection of us
yes.
and what we were constantly wanting to design. There's
Yeah.
always been a lot of hearts and a lot of love,
Oh,
which is cute. I look back and I'm like, oh, yeah, it was always there, you know?
but there's definitely an incredible story, as you say, with your pieces that that does come through in your collections, and it sort of
Thank
all
you.
beautifully, ties in together. But is there a sort of a collection that you've had over the last 20 years that it holds a really special place in your heart, or something that
You
you
know, they've
like?
all been special. They all
Yeah,
tell such a strong story. What I love is that over time, I mean, we always made the jewelry from recycled silver, which was
yeah,
more
that's
ethical. But
amazing.
when we started, you couldn't talk about making a recycled thing because it just wasn't really cool and people didn't get
Yeah,
it. And they
yeah,
thought, oh no, you don't want something recycled, it needs to be new. But there
yeah,
just wasn't the education there, because actually you can refine silver and refine gold
yeah,
back to its original source so easily, you know.
yeah,
So in fact, it's very easy to work with recycled materials. And that's
yeah,
been a nice transition over the years, that now we can really talk about those things and it's
absolutely.
appreciated and it's understood, but we were
Yeah,
always doing them.
yeah,
And I also feel that there's always been a lot of meaning in each of our pieces. You know, everything's
yeah,
designed really intentionally. My
yeah,
father was also really into jewelry with meaning. He would make commissions for customers where sometimes he'd have to be up on a full moon at a certain time of the night making some piece for somebody, you know. It was quite
yeah,
amazing. And I just love that. I love that I love that connection and I love the story, like your necklace, that was your bridesmaid
Yeah,
necklace.
my swallow.
Like for
It's
me,
so
that's what
special.
it's about, you know.
It is.
We do these pieces for people that then they leave our shops and they have their own adventure. Like that piece of
Yeah,
jewelry, maybe we designed it with one intention,
yeah,
but that doesn't matter because it's whatever it means to the person that is now wearing it. That's what becomes important. And
yeah.
I think that's my favorite aspect over all the collections is just having that understanding that people have these special pieces and they
Yes.
mean something to them or they symbolize a special time or the engagement or wedding rings.
Yeah,
It's a real honor to be able to make something that has meaning to somebody else.
yes.
That's what's most special about it for me.
Yeah, and quite different as well. My friend who bought me the necklace, Rachel Lockhead, she had her engagement ring and her wedding band made and designed at Zoe and Morgan
Zoe.
in the
Yeah.
Ponsonby store. Parnell? Is it Parnell? Ponsonby? Or was it
It would have been probably at City Works Depot with Zoe.
City Works? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, in
yeah.
City Works. And I went there with her a couple of times to sort of sit down. And it's such a beautiful space. And what I really, really love with the brand and just with the pieces is, as you said, the attention to detail and how different and personal each piece is designed and made for the person. And she has the most amazing, stunning wedding band and engagement ring. It's
Oh,
definitely
great.
such a beautiful piece. Yeah. So how, with obviously everyone being in different parts of the world, with you being in
Mm.
London, you and Ibiza at the moment, and your brother and sister, they're both in New Zealand?
They're both in New Zealand. They're both in New
Yeah.
Zealand.
When you sort of collaborate, when you design your pieces, your next story, how do you get together? And you're off to Bali soon, you're saying. You're off to
Yes, I'm off to Bali soon. That is also largely to do with the school holidays. As you know, in England, they're a long time. So, but also, I mean, I love Bali. I love Bali. Zoe's
Bali's
there
so
right now.
special. I love Bali.
Yeah,
It's such a
and Zoe
beautiful
has
place.
Yeah, Zoe's been really busy with the new collection. In terms of how we design together, it has evolved over the years. Zoe and Morgan together have always been the two principal designers, and
Yeah.
Morgan will do mostly the silver is really him. He's learned how to do CAD, which is computer animated design. So he
Oh,
designs a lot of
wow.
it himself on computer now. We've moved away from the lost wax sort of traditional carving that we did with Gusto, who does still some
Yeah.
pieces for us,
Yeah.
but Morgan will design a lot of it himself on the computer,
Okay.
which has been easier with the move to New Zealand. So
Yeah.
yeah, he's really the one that takes charge of the silver and
Okay.
he bounces. I think what's nice about having three of us is that ideas, you're able to bounce them off somebody,
Yeah.
right? So you have that person and then together the ideas can feed in to kind of elevate a piece.
Yeah.
So Zoe and Morgan have always worked really well together like that. They're a great balance. And I've sort of done my odd bit here and there. I tend to do just more of the bespoke wedding and fine pieces for our London customers or
Yes.
UK kind
Yeah.
of client base. And then Zoe also is very busy with the fine and the bespoke and wedding and everything in New Zealand. So we've sort of all have slightly different things, but it all crosses over.
Yeah.
Zoe's been busy in Bali now putting together the next collection, which is looking really exciting.
Oh, that is
So
so
yeah,
amazing. And is that the first collection in 2025? This one for the 20-year anniversary? I see you've launched one with
so
Christy Gallagher. Christy Gallagher.
yeah, so we've done a couple of collections with Kirsty Gallagher for her books. We
Oh,
did two necklaces last year for the
yeah.
Goddess Path, which was a
Yeah.
triangle and a moon. And then we've just done, she's got Your Cosmic Purpose, which is the cosmic purpose symbol
Yeah.
and a star. And yeah, I've loved working with Kirsty. She's a
Yeah.
fantastic human being. I really
Yeah.
like her. I love what she's about. And yeah, it's been so nice to collaborate with her and make the necklaces.
Oh, that is amazing.
Yeah.
And with your recycled silver pieces, this is something that you guys explored quite a while ago when, sustainability and recyclable materials wasn't really it wasn't really spoken about, or there wasn't
It
much
wasn't
involvement.
spoken about, no. And I
Yeah,
think it was sort of viewed as like a sort of slightly off to the side hippie kind of thing that was not quite what you were looking for. But we were really raised with quite strong ethical principles from our parents. You
yeah,
know, we were eating organic food from an early age. Our
yeah,
mum ran a veggie co-op from our front porch. She definitely was always about not using plastic bags, and
yeah,
our dad also had very strong ethical viewpoints. So it was just natural for us to operate our lives as consciously as we could, you know. And while it's impossible to be completely ethical, there's no such
yes,
thing. As
it's
long as you're living and breathing, you're
yeah,
using something from this planet, you know.
exactly.
So I think as long as you can kind of be really grateful and do what you can to help and minimize, then that's really our aim. So
Yeah,
yeah, we've always worked with like a recycled silver. The fine is made with a combination of recycled gold and also something called um, SMO, which is single mine origin, where you can trace the
okay.
gold back to the mine.
Yeah,
And then
that's
there are
incredible.
mines that are mining responsibly, and they have
Yeah,
great kind of programs and things set up. So
that's
yeah, we've done what we can in our ability to kind of make sure that the jewelry aligns with our own beliefs, which is to
yeah,
kind of, be as harmless as we can
yeah,
and make sure that we treat everybody with respect and love.
yeah. Oh, that is incredible. And it's so important, I feel, to you reuse as much wherever we can as possible, because unfortunately I feel as though we've definitely become a society where, we all want sparkly brand new things, and yeah, we don't take much responsibility in that aspect.
Yeah,
So that is
yeah,
incredible. Yeah. Oh, well, thank you so
yeah.
much for your time today, Ruth. I
Thank
really,
you,
really
Penny.
appreciate your time, and it's been an absolute pleasure to chat.
And you.